Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Well, even though I was disappointed yesterday that the plans to go to Labrador were nixed by the inability to get tickets for the ferry, we've come up with a second plan here, and we're going to go up to St. Anthony in the northwest corner of Newfoundland. Should be a fun day and a great ride. Why don't you join us? This morning we have somewhat of a circular route planned. We'll be going north until we get close to Bird Cove, Newfoundland, and then we'll be going east on Highway 432. This takes us into the interior of this northern arm of Newfoundland. We took the interior route first this morning in hopes that we would see moose or caribou. This interior route also keeps us from having to backtrack the entire coast ride. Midway between Hawke's Bay and Castor's River, we ride by the Long Range Mountains. The Long Range Mountains are part of the range that borders along the western shore of Newfoundland. This mountain range is considered an extension of the Appalachian Mountain Range, which extends all along the eastern seaboard of North America. We have made the turn to head into the interior, and we're passing by 10 Mile Lake. Here we are passing over Salmon River Bridge. What a beautiful area, huh? We kept passing by these areas that were kind of fenced off with some rudimentary blockades. And right here, as I passed this one, I finally figured out what was going on. Those were little gardens that they were planting right along the road, which made it easy to get to them in inclement weather.
One of the things I've noticed here are the trees really aren't that big or don't seem that mature. I know at higher altitudes, trees get smaller, which is a global phenomenon. But here, I'm not quite sure if the higher latitude has to do with smaller growth or not. If you happen to know, make a comment down below. We are in the area of Lawerence, which is where there is a Norse archaeological site. And they believe Leif Erikson actually had a settlement here in the northernmost portion of Newfoundland. This settlement dates back about 1,000 years and is considered possibly a stopping off point for exploration of the North American continent further south. We stop in St. Anthony to gas up and take a little bit of a break before we turn around and start our coast crawl back to Hawke's Bay. We ride back across the northern section on Highway 430, which will take us right back out to the coast and then south again. I think it's fair to say that almost all of the inhabitants of this northern section of Newfoundland live right along the coast. It appears that most of them are fishing villages or infrastructure to support that industry, at least at one time. This is a great ride along the Gulf of the St. Lawrence, which separates Newfoundland from the far eastern regions of Quebec province and Labrador. We really saw very little motorcyclists up in here, and the ones that we did see were making the ferry ride over to Quebec province so that they could go on the Labrador-Quebec highway. This is the same ferry that I had hoped to cross over into Quebec and then up into Labrador for the afternoon before taking the ferry back over to Newfoundland to meet up with Gord. We pull off at Flowers Cove. I'm trying to get a view of a lighthouse out on Flowers Island. They also have a little bit of a fishing fleet here that was pretty cool to see. As we wind our way through town, we go right by the St. Barnabas Anglican Church. What a beautiful area this is, and you can see the lighthouse from here. Because I don't have a telephoto lens associated with the GoPro camera, it's a little hard to see the lighthouse, but if you follow the lane straight back, you can see it. The mountains are coming into view again, which means we're getting closer to Hawke's Bay, our destination for this evening. We'll be staying at the same hotel that we stayed at the night before. We made it back, and we'll fuel up before we hit the restaurant and have dinner before calling it a night.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to the trip. This is the summary of day 7. We continued our exploration of the Avalon Peninsula, and that's this long big arm that sticks out of the top of Newfoundland. We returned to our place here in Hawke's Bay, and made a coast crawl up the west coast, turned inland, and experienced some of the inner forest of this part of the province, and then cruised up into a place called St. Anthony. Pretty much end of the road destination right here. And after a short break there, we returned, except instead of backtracking, we decided to take the route, the only other route, to be honest with you, that allows you to transit across the top of the province in full view of Labrador on the other side of this strait. So we had a very good ride. Conditions were good. Roads were a little choppy at times in the center piece here, but the roads along the coastline were in very good condition and easily to navigate. So that's it for day 7. We'll check in with you again.
Well, yesterday we took that ride through the interior, hoping to see some animals, some moose or caribou, but there were just none to be found, even though they keep advertising them. But anyway, once we got on the coast, we had a great ride and some beautiful scenery. So I hope you liked yesterday's video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Take care. See you in the next episode.